The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
Put the power back in your hands. This is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to Behind the Law. Michaela is out today, so I decided to bring some of my very best friends and favorite guests in today. I'm going to teach you how to invest your money, how to protect your house, and also how to get your roof fixed, hopefully through an insurance claim. It's going to be a wonderful show lined up today. Don't tell Michaela. I wore a tie today for the first time because these guys are some of my best friends. Here's what we'll do. Very quick break. When we return, Behind the Law continues. So happy to be here at Ocala Realty World. I love Ocala, love Marion County. Pleased to be joined by Alicia Lopez. Hi, Alicia. How are you?
Good, thank you.
This area of Florida, this area of the country is stunningly beautiful. A lot of people are moving here. What would you tell them about Marion County and Ocala?
I would say that you get kind of the best of both worlds. So close to Orlando, to Tampa, even Gainesville, but still so far away from everything that little rural, kind of away from it all feeling. You can still get that here. And you don't have to be too far away from civilization if you don't want to, or you could be completely out in the middle of nowhere on acreage, whether you like horses or just a farm, or there's tons of luxury properties too on acreage here, so you really have a little bit of everything.
Stunningly beautiful. I'm a real estate agent thinking about hanging my license somewhere, or even maybe if I'm a real estate agent in another part of the state thinking about moving here. Ocala Realty World has a certain energy, a certain vibe. You care about your agents, don't you?
Oh yes, absolutely.
How do you make them so successful?
I love on them a lot, and I just think of any relationship, the best relationships are really the only relationships that even last is that you genuinely care about each other, so it's reciprocated from both sides, and our agents know that we really do want them to be successful. My husband and I, we were there, we did all that stuff, and like we could still go out there and do that, but now we get to teach all of our agents and anyone that kind of would be that right fit for us to come on, and they could do the same as well and learn.
Beautiful brokerage you have here in a beautiful part of the world, and if you're looking to buy or sell anywhere here in the Ocala, Marion County area, or if you were an agent looking to really propel your career, look no further than Ocala Realty World.
Your debt does not have to control your life. You have the power to potentially lower or even eliminate your debt. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life.
When it comes to your money, all financial advisors are not created equally. They're just not. In fact, there are different laws that regulate different people. Some of these big box stores you see on television have different regulations than others. And I think this is very important. And I think you work very hard for your money, and you need to make sure whoever's going to oversee your money, help you build wealth, is the right person for that job. John Ledford is here. John, how are you, sir?
I'm great, thanks. How are you today?
It's true, though, because they're the big box stores you see on TV, and some of the people there simply have different regulations than someone like you, a certified financial planner.
Right.
You're a fiduciary. What does that mean?
Right. So fiduciary means that I'm required to, at all times, act in the best interests of my client, which you would think would be normal, but in our industry it's not, because folks who are not fiduciaries, folks who work other than for a fee, work for a commission, and even folks who charge a fee but work for a big box store, as you so aptly describe them, oftentimes they are not functioning as fiduciaries. They're functioning on behalf of their broker-dealer or their parent company instead of on behalf of the client. So it's a huge distinction, a huge difference, and a different code of conduct, a different standard of operating.
A lot of people moving to Florida now, obviously, you drive down the 429 or whatever, it's just apartment building after apartment complex after condo. It's really insane. There are a lot of people moving here, which that's fine. We have some room still, that's fine, but a lot of people are moving here from New York or California, and some of these people are now hitting that retirement age, and their entire career, they've just let their employer sort of handle their 401k. Their employer was matching and they, maybe they can log in somewhere and look at it, but they've always relied. I know there are a lot of people right now watching that have just relied on this 401k to grow and grow their wealth, and they've never really done anything about it themselves.
Correct.
And it makes me nervous because there are things that they can do.
Sure. Well, and it's interesting because it's a different set of muscles is the way I describe it to someone when we're meeting together. The set of muscles that you use to acquire and create are a lot different than the muscles needed to manage and distribute. And so, yes, if they've relied on, not themselves, but a third party and an employer, and they've not exercised those different muscles before, it's a completely different experience. And so we take a lot of time with our clients talking through the psychology of working with an investment advisor, because it's super important that they know what they're getting into, they know what the relationship, should look like and how it's going to benefit them. But there's a lot involved in the equation. For the typical person you identified, sold a home up north, moved to Florida, all that kind of stuff, maybe now have a 401k, et cetera. There's a lot of moving parts of getting them from funding from their job to now funding based upon their assets, and doing that in the most effective way and the most tax efficient way is something we certainly would spend a lot of time on.
So someone watching at home now that has been in that position and they've moved here and they have accumulated wealth in this 401k or whatever plan they've had,
Sure.
IRA, whatever it is, how does that process work from just always relying on it just to happen to actually going to talk to someone like you who can help? How does that process work?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is that myself, me as the leader of Fortress and then our team, we're all very, very adept and all very specialized at having the conversation with new clients where we get to know them. And that's really what we do in our first meeting with them. But there's three probably key anchor conversations we have in that first meeting. And it kind of goes like this to demystify it for the clients. It's, what do you have and why? What's your attitude towards insurance and why? And do you have an estate plan and why? And I found that if I have that conversation with most people, and it could be as simple as 5 minutes to answer those three questions, but I know about 95% about this person, not only mathematically, financially, but also psychologically, how they got to be where they are today and why. And from that, we can start to have a very meaningful conversation about what muscles do we need to enact, in order to think and act differently, and how do we get them to a path of understanding how to fund their retirement. Our goal always, the math is easy, our goal is always to help people create a bulletproof retirement, a worry-free retirement, whatever phrase you want to utilize. But I want people effectuating either their job or their retirement with 110% of their energy and their passion, not with any of it, thinking about their money and whether or not, what's the stock market doing today. It's fun anecdotally, but it really shouldn't be affecting your lifestyle. If it is, your relationship with your advisor is not what it should be.
Sure.
And something needs to change.
You got the 401k here, the IRA here. I like the thought of putting everything together, where it's all working together towards one goal, which is a healthy retirement and a healthy financial plan and goals for you. The QR code on the screen right now will connect you with John immediately with Fortress Wealth Group. And John, I was looking at our profit and loss statements for the firm yesterday, actually, because believe it or not, we're done with the second quarter as of yesterday.
Right.
Literally half the year is done now. But I also think that as we get half of the year in, it's a really great time for people to review all of their financials, but especially those that are self-employed or own businesses, a great time to do a tax review mid-year.
Yeah, I completely agree, and we do that for the majority of our clients, and certainly all of those who want to do it. Some we have to pull them in, but mid-year is a great time. So all of us kind of like fall into New Year, and then before we know it, it's like tax time to get all of our tax documents done. And then oftentimes we disappear for summertime because we're so busy, crazy. And then the fall we're trying to figure out, are we on track, and what do we do to plan for year end? And then you get to the end of the year and you realize I missed a step along the way, which was planning for my taxes. And in what we do, we spend a lot of time trying to reduce our clients' tax liability, of course, in a legal and ethical way. But mid-year is super important. It's super important for two reasons. One of which, well, three reasons I'm going to say. One of which is not to get caught up in that inertia that is anti-wealth building, which I just described. So that would be number one. And we as owners have the ability to intersect that and say, I'm not going to just go with the inertia. I liken it to taking a cruise. I don't like to be managed by the cruise line. I like to create my own schedule.
Yes.
So this is much the same as that. The second thing is that it's really important to know a lot of our clients, a lot of your clients, have seen their incomes go from good to great or great to amazing in the last couple of years as we've had this incredible Central Florida expansion.
Yep.
With that, it usually means that the tax preparer oftentimes is a year or two behind the growth scale, unless they're really, really on top of things. And that creates a problem. You don't like surprise at year end. Oh, by the way, you owe an extra whatever the number is. The third reason is a lot of the tools we utilize for tax planning to really reduce strategically cannot be executed on 12/31. They have to be executed Q2, Q3, Q4. As early as possible is better. And oftentimes if you don't execute mid-year, then all of a sudden what happens is a lot of inventory disappears.
Sure.
So last year, for instance, if you wanted to buy solar credits last year, I'm not proposing that anyone do that, but if someone wanted to buy solar credits last year, it was very unlikely they could get any inventory.
Right.
Because all the large institutions and corporations bought it all. So unless you were planned and prepared when you got a phone call that said, hey, we have an allocation available, like we were at Fortress, we were able to immediately execute on several $1 million of purchases because we'd done the planning in advance. If you're not ready and you're not prepared, a lot of times the inventory of opportunities disappears as well. Mid-year planning is so critical.
I think it's so important. You wait till December 29th and it's too late at that point anyway, but also you're on vacation, you've got family in town, you're like, you know what, I'll just suffer the consequences next year. And
sure.
These are major consequences financially when it comes to this tax hit.
Yes.
John Ledford, excellent job as always,
Thank
buddy. QR code is on the screen directly to John. Let's review your financial situation to see what we can do better and also to protect you from paying taxes that you shouldn't have to pay. A lot of criminal cases we've seen lately. People are sneaking in through the windows into your house in Central Florida. How do you protect against that as Behind the Law continues?
Are you worried about your student loan payments? I don't blame you. The great news for you is now we have more options than ever. Go to our website, youhavepower.com, to find out what options may exist for you and your student loans.
Welcome back to the show, and a big part of law obviously is criminal law. We talk to criminal attorneys on the show all the time, but it's been very disconcerting lately. I've seen so many criminal cases in Central Florida where these really crazy people are breaking into people's homes and they're coming in through the windows. And they're able to do that because a lot of us here in Central Florida have windows that are getting old and they are unsafe. I have two daughters, okay? I worry about my daughters, of course. I know that you have kids, you probably worry about your children as well. You need to make sure as you assess your entire house and the safety of your home, we're all putting up cameras, we're all doing things to really make our home safe. You need to check those windows out as well. I assure you, if you have old windows, it's easy to get into your house. Joined now by Dan Brigman, Renewal by Andersen. And when people think about their safety and the family's safety and the safety of their home, they don't often think about the windows, Dan, but these old windows are so easy to break into.
You're absolutely right, Justin, and it's a great question and a great thing to be thinking about. The construction of old windows, and as a matter of fact, over 90% of the window manufacturers today, they put what's called the glass pack, the actual part that you're looking through. Right. They put it in the window with a glazing bead. And back in the day, people used to heat up a knife, and you could stick it in the glazing bead and take it right around and pop the glass pack in, come in, no security alarm go off. We've solved that problem at Renewal by Andersen. We have 3 patented locking systems on our window, and you're just simply not going to come through it unless you have some kind of way to break through a window.
I'm going to do you a favor right now, actually, and Derek Moser will put the QR code on the screen. All you have to, he gave me a thumbs up, meaning it's going up on the screen. Take your phone out right now, scan the QR code. The message will get directly to Dan, and they are happy at Renewal by Andersen, totally free, to give you a free security assessment of the windows on your home. Dan, thank you so much. You also said that you've got, because this bothers you as well, you have some promotions, some specials for our audience.
Yeah, we sure do. We actually have a couple of promotions going on. One of the promotions is a 20% off of everything. Now that's different than the past, because we would normally just do a 20% off of maybe windows or do 20% off of doors. But that's anything and everything that we have, including your front entry doors. Wow. The other promotions are we took a gamble with financing in our Easy Pay. If anybody's been paying attention, interest rates have been going up everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, guess who did not go up? Renewal by Andersen. We kept our rates down low. We even have 12 months, no payment, no interest, 24 months, no payment, no interest, and then we have 48 months minimum payment, and we can get non-secured Easy Pay programs, in some cases as low as 2.9. More popular is the 4.9 because of the length of the time. But regardless, by the time you put those numbers together and you look at your savings, it all equals out, yeah.
So as someone who lost AC this morning, of course it always happens in the middle of the summer. This is not a joke. I literally have no air conditioning at my house right now. Had to take the dogs to doggy daycare and everything. You know, you can't leave them home for that. I know what it's like to feel hot, obviously, in my house. But what I've also noticed is even when my AC is working, I'm in a temporary sort of townhouse right now.
Right.
And the windows, they seem a little bit older. Literally, as I go near the windows, I can feel hot air coming in, which makes me know for a fact that having old windows is very bad for my electricity bill. Is this right?
100% dead on. And the reason that is in 2003, the Department of Energy required Energy Star savings and technologies be put on windows. Older windows do not have that. And the coating that goes in that glass is known as low E. Or it's a UV inhibitor or a protector that keeps that white light from coming in. That's what you feel when you run or you walk close to your windows. Now, I will say this about that. It's much like paint jobs.
Yeah.
You can get paint jobs on a car for $99, and you can get a paint job for $12,000.
Right.
And that coating will dissipate over time. So even if you have windows that are just 5 years old and you're beginning to feel the heat, it's dissipating off the glass, and it's time to think about doing it again.
How do I know it's time to at least have RBA come out and inspect my windows, see if they're safe, see if they're up to code? How do I know it's time? Most people just see a window, they're like, okay, whatever, it's a window, it's fine.
Yeah, so a lot of times, you know, we like the thought of just opening those windows several times a year and letting breeze and things like that in. But the best way to know it's time to get windows just visually from standing a couple feet back. And you may laugh at this, but where your window meets together, where the lock is, we call that a meeting rail. And a lot of times it will get dust on it, and most of us will think, well, hey, I just didn't clean my house. But the reality of it is your AC, when it is working, Justin, when it comes on, it sucks through a return vent, but it also sucks air from any cracks and crevices in the house that are coming from the outside. Number one place that is found is in windows. When the seal goes bad on the meeting rail, it sucks the sand dust in from outside. So if you're accumulating heavy dust on your rails, you have bad seals in your windows.
Yeah. I won't mention any names, but someone was attempting to cook dinner at my house the other night. It was like some kind of steak, okay, on the stovetop. And then the fire alarm started going off, okay? And then she went to open the window in the kitchen to let the smoke out so all the neighbors weren't worried that we had a fire, because it smelled like fire. It was smoky. No names mentioned, that's okay. As she opened, this is a true story, as she opened the window up in the kitchen, it just fell right back down, which is kind of dangerous, by the way. You feel like you could slice yourself or the window's going to shatter.
We call that the guillotine window.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that happens more times than I care to mention. And I'm not here to beat up any other window manufacturer, but the reason that is happening is most balance systems, which allow the window to rise up and down, come in two forms. They come in a spring-loaded coil, or they come in a spring cam that is oil or hydraulically operated. The problem with the dust and the heat that we have in Florida, those things don't hold up, and they can go out on you. They can work good today, and tomorrow they can take your hand off.
The guillotine.
So, yeah, we
Yikes.
work off of a what's called a block and tackle system,
Right.
and it's another patented item by Andersen. And no, you'll never cut your hand off. And when you put your window up this far, it'll stay there until your house burns down.
Dan Brigman, Renewal by Andersen, killed it as always. QR code is on the screen right now. Free security assessment of all the windows in your home, making sure your house is energy efficient. And if you hit the QR code on the screen, it is 20% off. Unbelievable. Quick break. Behind the Law continues.
Did you know that filing for bankruptcy can help you lower your mortgage or car payments, or potentially help you eliminate your IRS or credit card debt? I'm attorney Justin Clark. If you find yourself living paycheck to paycheck, call me now or visit youhavepower.com for a free consultation.
I know, we've heard all about it. The insurance changes in Florida have been crazy with homeowners insurance. Your rates are going up, they're canceling you. I hear it all the time. I hear it every single day, and it has created changes, no doubt about it. But have you seen the rain lately? I mean, it has been raining like crazy. And when it rains like that and you start to see leaks coming inside of your home, it's scary, okay? It is scary when you see your house leaking. You have to do something about it. Universal Roof and Contracting is here. Cory, Justin, how are you?
Good, man.
It is scary. It's a scary time. You talk to homeowners all the time who see spots on the ceiling, they see leakage. It's scary,
Right.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because the one thing that a leak means when you see it like manifest on the ceiling, it has to first start leaking, then it has to saturate through all of your sheathing, then it has to get through all of your insulation. By the time it shows up on your ceiling, you could already potentially be having mold issues and things like that happening in your attic. So being proactive is the best case, but being super urgent when you see that is the next best thing.
Some people are scared right now to even make that call because they hear all these rumors about insurance claims and insurance companies going to drop them, blah, blah, blah. What are you seeing happen right now? Like, down in the trenches, when you go to someone's house and you have them make the claim, how are the insurance companies responding?
You know, we've seen ebbs and flows, like
Yeah.
peaks and valleys, you know, based on the history the past couple of years with hurricanes and hailstorms. And it seems like certain insurance companies will tighten their wallet, and then you go back into an approval process and all that. So what we're starting to see is it seems like it's regulating.
Yeah.
It seems like if they have true storm damage, and I think that's the key word, if it's really storm damage, the insurance companies are being logical. They're coming out, they're identifying that, and they're making a coverage decision that
Right.
makes sense. I am still seeing the homeowner that receives the letter, the dreaded letter,
Yes.
that says you need a new roof or we're dropping you. And sometimes that means that the homeowner's roof is still absolutely fine. They just have a time frame.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I also see people are afraid to make a claim right now because they're afraid, number one, that they're going to get no. The insurance company is going to say no. I mean, they have every right to do it. You can fight them if you want to, whatever. But they're also afraid to make a claim because they're afraid that they're going to get dropped. The insurance company is going to drop them. I'm seeing insurance companies drop people without filing claims nonstop left and right. I don't think it makes a difference, does it?
No, it really doesn't. The biggest thing you need to realize is you're paying these premiums for those big ticket items that could potentially happen to your house. That's what insurance is there for. The best thing about us is we're going to come down from your roof with a super honest assessment. We're there to identify the storm damage and walk you through the insurance process that we've designed to work transparently with the insurance company. Ultimately, your premiums, it's all based on zip codes, not your own individual like claim, policy history. So really, I mean, using that as an asset that you've been paying for so many years, it's really the best case scenario if we do find that storm damage.
Absolutely. And by the way, I've been wearing the Universal Roof and Contracting hat all the time. I played pickleball in it with Dallas Lehman, who's back there the other day.
I'm sure you won.
There's some photos out there on social media of me wearing the Universal Roof and Contracting hat. I appreciate it. Oh, they're out there. I'll send them to you after the show.
That's awesome.
But at the end of the day, maybe someone's insurance company does deny the claim. The dreaded denial of the claim. You've set it up to where it's not the worst thing in the world now because you've created payment plans. You've made it affordable for people to get a new roof.
Yeah, absolutely. We have financing options. I mean, we always say there's two ways to approach it. You have storm damage and there's an insurance process in place. And if that's either it's time for a new roof or maybe you went down the insurance process and you got denied, we're going to sit down with you at your kitchen table. We're going to kind of see where you're at with everything. And we have different financing options in place. They're going to allow you to get into the roof without taking food off the table and get you into a monthly plan that makes sense for you, so that the investment is something that you can actually undertake and not be overwhelmed by. A lot of people are scared and they have that leak and then they just live in denial because they don't want to make the investment, and then it turns into a monster. And so getting ahead of it and doing it's like dental work, right?
Yeah.
You want to get ahead of it and do it when it first starts showing its face, right?
We can do a cleaning today, or you can get a root canal next year.
That's right.
What do you prefer? But it feels good from our perspective and the people that I know that we can send them to you. I can just send you a text, honestly, and I know they're going to be very well taken care of. And unfortunately, in the roofing business, it's not like that with all roofing companies. You guys are a little bit different.
We are. We've adapted this process to make sure we're taking care of people on site in real time. I was with homeowners yesterday that said they've already met with roofers, still haven't received anything yet.
Yeah.
They just did the inspection, no photos, no real education. They just took the photos that they needed, and then they left. They're going to email them something later. We certainly don't operate that way. We show up to every appointment. There's never going to be a satellite image pulled from the internet and then an emailed estimate. We're going to make sure we're diagnosing everything properly, and we're going to walk that homeowner through like an education process to where they could probably feel like they could sell roofs after that consultation. But we're going to make sure they're equipped with all the information so they can make an educated decision and ultimately choose one of us to do business with.
Yeah, I think if you give them a chance, you will choose Universal Roof and Contracting as well. QR code is right here on the screen. Just take your phone, scan the QR code, and that message will get directly to Justin and Cory. They'll come out to your house, sit down with you, and go through everything. Look, maybe you can repair it. Maybe you still have a few years left, or maybe it is time to replace it. They're going to hold your hand through the entire process, and I think that's the biggest part of this thing all, is making sure that your customers are informed and they know they're doing the right thing. And just really the professionalism over at Universal is pretty awesome. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Justin, I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks
Any
a lot.
trips coming up anytime soon?
I just got back from the
heard
Dominican
it.
Republic.
Everyone's traveling but me,
Yeah.
it seems.
Yeah.
Great.
I've seen your Instagram account. That's not true. That's not true. You're traveling.
I think that's a later post or something. I don't know. There's a word for that. I forgot exactly what it is. Good job as always. Thank you to our guest today, John Ledford, of course, Justin and Cory with Universal, and my good buddy Dan Brigman, who still owes me a hat. Thank you to our awesome team here. Thank you for joining us every weekend. See you again next week for more Behind the Law.
You can be an agent that struggles to get ahead in the competitive real estate world, or you can learn from the best and achieve success. Visit youhaveafutureinrealestate.com and sign up for the Jumpstart program. Get coaching tips and important tools that will help you jumpstart your real estate career. Sign up today and get 10% off your Jumpstart program when you use code word LEARN. Visit youhaveafutureinrealestate.com today and gain the real estate knowledge you need to succeed.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.